Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. So today we are going to be looking at how to read better. How to read better and break free from all of that pressure from book culture. We're looking at a YouTube video by Thomas R. Howell.
Okay.
It's called 5 Habits That Will Change the Way You Read Books.
I've seen that one.
Yeah. Have you seen this one?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
So
You ready to dive in and make reading more intentional?
I think it's such an interesting topic,
Yeah. Yeah.
because he really tackles the modern reader's dilemma,
Yeah.
like how to find peace and purpose in reading when there's just so much coming at us,
Right.
with all the content and all the information and just the distractions.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you would think that reading would be an escape from that, but it's almost like it's become a part of it now.
It really has. Yeah. And that's one of the first things that Howell points out is the social media piece of it. It's like everybody's doing book haul, bookshelf tours, these must-read lists. Just like, are we really reading for ourselves anymore, or are we just trying to keep up with the Joneses?
Yeah. And it's funny because
Yeah.
I find myself falling prey to it too, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I have to get all these books because so-and-so is getting them and I have to read them.
Exactly.
But there's the psychological component there.
There is.
It's that fear of missing out that we all experience.
Well, absolutely.
And it's interesting how that translates into reading.
It is. And it kind of creates this sense of urgency or inadequacy.
Yeah.
You see other people buying all these books, participating in challenges, and you think,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
And I think it just leads to this kind of mindless consumption where you're focused on acquiring rather than actually engaging with the books.
Right. And so how do we escape this cycle?
Right.
So Howell has this suggestion that kind of blew my mind.
Okay.
Delete your TBR list.
Oh, wow.
I have to admit, when I first read that, I was like, what?
Right.
What? My TBR list is my lifeline.
Yeah. No, I get that. It's comfortable.
It's true. The more I thought about it, I was like,
Yeah.
he has a point.
I understand that resistance.
Yeah.
Because it's like a roadmap in a way.
Right.
It's like, okay, I want to explore all these different genres and authors
Yeah.
but how often do we actually stick to it?
Right.
And more importantly, is it driving our choices out of genuine interest?
Right.
Or is it just a sense of obligation?
Yeah. It's I feel like I have to read these books.
Exactly.
So what if we had a shorter list?
Yeah, I mean,
A more curated list?
that's what he suggests, right?
Yeah.
Just narrow it down to 10 books
10 books. Yeah.
that you genuinely can't wait to read.
Yes.
So it's about prioritizing quality over quantity.
Yeah.
And really focusing on those titles that spark true excitement for you.
Right. And it's interesting because if you think about it that way, it's almost like you have these 10 coveted spots.
Yeah.
And so you're going to be a lot more intentional about what goes in those spots.
Yeah, and think about it. What would be in your 10?
Oh my gosh.
Or now,
I don't even know if I could narrow it down.
maybe there's a book that pushes you beyond your comfort zone.
Right.
Maybe one that revisits a beloved childhood genre.
Well,
Or one that was recommended by someone you really admire.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a good exercise.
It is.
And it's interesting because it completely takes the focus off of accumulating all these books. And it's okay,
It's about the experience.
you have these 10 slots.
Yeah.
Let's make them count.
Exactly.
And that leads perfectly into Howell's next point, which is all about carving out that dedicated reading time.
Right.
You know?
I mean, even just 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference.
Right.
It's not just about finding the time. It's about
Yeah.
creating a ritual, a
Yeah.
space where you can disconnect from all the noise and just immerse yourself in the world of the book.
Where is your ideal reading nook?
Oh my gosh.
Is it
Probably a sunny spot in the park.
Yeah.
Or maybe a comfy chair with a blanket.
Yes.
Just somewhere quiet.
Yeah. Mine is definitely curled up in a comfy chair
Yeah.
with a warm drink.
And that's nice.
Yeah. It's about making it a consistent part of your routine.
Yeah.
And you know what? Howell gives us permission to do something
Okay.
that might seem a little taboo
Okay.
in the book world.
I'm intrigued. Tell me.
Yeah. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
He says it's okay to not finish books
Oh, I love
that we're not enjoying.
Yes. It's a good point.
It's we have this pressure
We do.
to finish every book we start.
It's like a badge of honor.
It is.
But reading should be a pleasure.
That's
not
right.
a test of endurance.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah. It really is. You know, we feel like we're somehow failing
Yeah,
if we don't finish a book.
it's true.
But you're right. It's like, what about the opportunity costs?
Right.
You know, every moment we spend forcing ourselves to read something that we're not enjoying is a moment we could be spending with a book that
Yeah.
we really love.
That we're going to actually get something out of.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I've totally been there
Oh, yeah.
where I feel like I'm trapped
Yeah.
in a book and I'm like, I just got to finish it.
Yeah.
I get to the end.
You feel obligated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt that way?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we all have.
Yeah. It's just this weird thing.
It is.
And so it's kind of liberating
Yeah.
to realize we have the power to choose.
We do.
Yeah.
We have the power.
So speaking of choices,
Okay.
Howell's next point is about book hauls and overconsumption. And I have to admit, I've definitely fallen prey to a good book sale.
Oh, yeah. The siren song of a discounted book.
Yes.
It's hard to resist.
So hard.
Yeah. And there's that dopamine rush, right?
Oh, yeah.
When you get all those new books.
It's like Christmas morning.
It is. It's like that sense of excitement and anticipation.
Yeah.
But as Howell points out,
Mhm.
that true satisfaction comes from actually engaging with the books that we already own.
Right. It's like we get so excited about like the purchase itself
Yeah.
that we forget about all the books that are sitting on our shelf.
That are just waiting to be read.
How many of us have like stacks
Oh, I know.
of unread books?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, those are the books we
Right.
should be focusing on.
Exactly. And you know, instead of constantly adding to our TBR pile, what if we spent more time
Yeah.
exploring the books we already have, like rediscovering a forgotten gem?
Yeah. Or finally diving into that classic
Yes.
you've been meaning to read.
Yeah.
That's good.
I like that. And you know what? That leads perfectly
Okay.
into Howell's final
Okay.
and maybe most important principle,
Okay.
savoring the reading journey.
Oh, that's a good one.
Like, it's so easy to get caught up
It is.
in that race to the finish line.
Mhm.
Like, how many books can I read this year?
Yeah.
But in doing so, we miss out
Yeah.
on like the nuances, subtleties,
The little details.
the joy of getting lost in a story.
Yeah. It's like we're speeding through a beautiful landscape
Yes.
without taking the time to actually appreciate the scenery.
That's such a good analogy.
So mindful reading is about like slowing down,
Yes.
paying attention to the language, the
Yeah.
imagery, the emotions that the author's evoking. It's about pausing
Yeah.
to reflect
Yeah.
on what we've read,
Yes.
letting those ideas resonate and connect with our own experiences.
You know, Hal reminds us that we can only read a book for the first time once.
That's true.
It's a unique and precious experience.
Yeah.
So instead of rushing to the
Right.
finish line,
Yeah.
how can we make it more mindful?
Yeah. How can we make it more immersive?
Yeah.
It's really about like, rediscovering that sense of wonder, and just letting ourselves get swept away by the story.
Yeah.
Like maybe creating a cozy reading nook,
Oh, yeah.
free from distractions. Or maybe even jotting down thoughts and reactions in a journal as you read.
Or even like taking a moment to savor a particular passage and just like letting those words like linger in your mind.
It's funny you say that.
Yeah.
I've been trying something new lately.
Okay.
Instead of like immediately reaching for my phone when I finish a chapter,
Yeah.
I just take a couple minutes to sit with the story
Yeah.
and let it sink in.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much richer the experience is
I bet.
when you give yourself that space
Yeah.
to reflect.
It's like you're giving your mind time to like
Like
digest it, and like make those connections.
it's so easy to get caught up in like the quantity.
Yeah.
But really, it's the quality of our engagement that matters.
Absolutely.
And that brings us back to Howell's main message.
Yeah.
Reading should be a source of joy,
Yes.
enrichment, personal growth. It's about connecting with stories, expanding our horizons, engaging with the world in a meaningful way.
Yeah. So as we wrap up our deep dives into Thomas R. Howell's 5 Habits, let's revisit some of those key takeaways.
Yeah.
We talked about being mindful of social media's influence on our reading habits. We explored the power of like creating a TBR list.
Yeah, that shorter list.
Yeah, quality over quantity.
Exactly.
And we gave ourselves permission to abandon books that aren't sparking joy.
I love that.
Recognizing that our reading time is precious. But maybe the most important takeaway is savoring the reading journey.
That's a good one.
Slowing down, being present.
Yeah.
appreciating that experience,
Yeah.
connecting with a story.
It really is about reclaiming reading as a source of pleasure
Yes.
and personal enrichment.
So tell me, what's one small change
Okay.
that you'll make to your reading habits based on what we talked about today?
That's a good question.
Will you ditch that overwhelming TBR list?
Maybe.
Will you make time for 30 minutes of reading each day?
Possibly.
Or will you challenge yourself to
Yeah.
put down the phone,
Yeah.
just sit with the story?
I like that.
Yeah, whatever it is, I encourage you to embrace that change
I agree.
and see how it impacts your relationship with reading.
Reading should be fun.
Exactly.
It shouldn't be a chore.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Happy reading, everyone.